Thank you for tuning into Stampscaping 101. This is a scene that I did using some images from the nature set number 1. Really simple composition, just using 3 stamps. And I just did a really easy, simple, very light, but I feel complete usage of color in here. Things don't always have to get so dark or so, you know, intricate as far as your details go or the number of layers that you apply to a scene. This is just a simple 3 colors of blue, kind of one accent color in the sky, and water type of usage. And one thing that I did on this scene that I don't always do is I just took my stamp and I colored them with a few different colors so that the colors of the tree are in the impressions themselves. I give it some variation, and you'll see how that's done. But I did these designs, as I said, and I'll say in the video, quite a long time ago, and this was kind of more in the spirit of some of the scenes that I used to do early on when using these stamps in terms of the modular nature system. We didn't have a lot of designs in the series, so you were really limited with what you used, but you can really come up with a lot of different compositions just based on a few designs, and that's what gave kind of birth to the expanded series of Stampscape stamps. So I know it was kind of fun to do the really simple usage here of the designs, and I don't know. If you want to stamp along with this one, it's an easy one to do and a lot of fun. You can complete this scene in, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. Faster if you do it again and, you know, have some practice in there. So I kind of came across a couple streaks that I had to kind of get rid of as well. So I don't know. But anyways, if you choose to watch this, you'll see how it's done. Thanks again for tuning in, and hope you enjoy the scene. Okay, we're going to do a scene using nature set number 1. This is a grouping of designs that I made for a company called A Stamp in the Hand. I used to work for them from about 1987 to about 1991. So this set would have been designed a very long time ago. I can't believe it's been that long since this grouping here, but this is one of those sets that kind of started me on the path of the the interlocking nature element. I drew them as kind of a set of designs that would be used in theory to be backgrounds for other company stamps, or the other stamps within a Stamp of the Hand line. And I don't know, as it turned out, there was a whole, I don't know, group of people, I guess, that ended up including myself, that ended up liking to do, that enjoyed doing just scenic stamping for scenic stamping's sake. Alright, now, in the spirit of going back in time here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a scene here, kind of more in the spirit of how I use these designs in the beginning, kind of more, I don't know, not so saturated an application of tone, more of what we call, I don't know, what I was taught was called local color, okay, trees are green, sky is blue, water's blue, something like that. So I'm going to try to keep this one a little bit more simple. And I'll see if I can even do that. You kind of start doing something a certain way, and you don't want it to become locked into, a certain technique or don't know, manner of working, but I don't know, after a while you kind of learn what you like, and you kind of stay with it, but you always want to kind of keep expanding on what you know. I don't know, sometimes you have to kind of mix it up and kind of just try something completely new. Now, back in the day, I'm going to see if these pens even work still. These are some Marvy brush markers. They're a little bit dry. I have that one's pretty wet. These ones are, I don't know how old these are. These could be 20 years old. But we didn't have dye-based pads, believe it or not. I don't remember when those came around. Raised dye-based pads, that is. Maybe mid-90s sometime. I could be wrong about a lot of this, but I thought it was Clear Snap with Vivid pads, the Vivid ink line. But I used to color, almost, well, I guess not almost exclusively with pens, okay? Now what I've done is I've laid down some dark blue, I had some bottle green. Now I don't have a big set of these brush markers, so I laid that down like so, and I'm colored in with this number 4 green, and I'm going to try and hit some of these tops of these trees with a little accent light green, okay? And we'll see how that goes. I wish I had some more of these pens, but like I said, they're so old that I'm not even sure which ones are still juicy or not. Maybe these are juicy because I think I did a video on how to re-ink these, and if you're interested on how to re-ink your I hesitate there because it's not really re-inking. It's kind of reinvigorating kind of dry pens, but I have a video on that, and this is, it's just a matter of popping off the back of these pens like this and taking this ink holder out and dropping some water down it. But anyway, what was I talking about? Inking this up, I'm blending in some extra colors in here, okay? And like I said, I want to keep this one fairly simple in terms of the color usage in the scene. I want to do a scene kind of reminiscent of kind of those early samples that I used to make using these stamps. I don't know. Then I don't know. By contrast, maybe I should do one with kind of more in the spirit of how I do them now. But anyways, we have a little bit of variation here within the image, and that's kind of fun, to have that, the different colors of green and I don't know. There's some brown in there. Just within the stamp image itself, and that's by coloring that, that way. And I say that, because a lot of the coloring I do these days, it's by stamping the image out and applying the color later. But if you want those trees to have a variation like that, it's better to just kind of color the, the actual stamp, and then having it in the impressions. Sometimes the tendency is to color, stamp a tree black or something like that, and then tapping in some green around it. But then it's just kind of, it looks okay, but you lose kind of the shape and silhouette of the tree because it's kind of in this green haze, soft, almost like a glow around all of it. So that's a way to do it, with pens if you have them. And those pens, those Marvy Matchables are just that. They match the Marvy inks. So, in other words, any kind of dye-based pen would work. The Marvy brush markers are kind of nice because they have a really big fat tip. Okay. I don't remember the name of that tree there. I'm just going to say, I think it was Tree Duo or something like that. I don't think it was Country Tree Duo. Although it could have been. Okay, dark brown. See, this is what you do too. Sometimes you don't have a dark enough color, so you kind of mix your, you know, a couple of your darkest tones. Does it pollute each pad? Well, maybe a little bit, but I don't know. It never really bothered me too much if it, you know. No, I wouldn't go with a super dark color on this and then add, you know, a super light color. Then it would really pollute the lighter color. But doing it this way, I don't know. I've never had a problem with it. Okay, there's a tree on the side there. So I still did some framing back when. Now let's go for another one. Adding my foreground. Something like this. Maybe go for a little bit of a taller one. I don't want to get that dual look again. Not that it would be bad if that's all you had, but let's go for this tree. A single one. I remember stamping these out back when, and, you know, because, you know, it just hadn't been done before, you know, as far as like a genre went. There were individual stamps out there as far as nature stamps, but you really had to mix and match. And this is like one of the first kind of systems, you know, that, you know, in terms of a modular nature system, that is. There were the modular systems, especially from Stamp-A-Barber, really had a good fix on, you know what I mean, on how to design things, but there weren't nature ones as far as I know with them. But what I was getting at was I just remember, you know, stamping some scenes out and, you know, whatever you would do with them at the time, it would be like, okay, that's the first time that's been done with a nature thing, or, you know. And when I'm stamping these trees out here, it's kind of bringing back memories of stamping out an 11 by 17 scene, and just seeing how far you can push the, you know, the area of a scene. All right, now we have that country stream, some trees in the foreground. Now this set right here, I did have some other clouds and things like that, but just to keep in the spirit of doing this set right here, I'm not going to stamp a formal sky in there, and I'll show you what I do. I'll just do some freeform clouds and such. Now I do have some other types of foreground elements, or this grass that I can use down here, but I don't think I'm going to do that at this point in time because I want to add some color in here. Now, there might be a little bit of smearing. I'm just kind of holding this up to light to see if I see any kind of glistening beads of color, of ink, you know, that might drag. And I don't know. If it does, then so be it. But there's nothing, it doesn't seem like there's anything too wet on there, so I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, so I'm going to try to keep this fairly light, and this could be a good stamp along because it's going to be very simple. Okay, now one of those things, if you've seen in the other videos, you know, if we want to keep something light, then just don't ink everything up, okay? Leave some areas, maybe the white of the paper, or very light, you know, don't go over it with your darker colors inks. But I'm going to go in here and I'm going to define my clouds. I'm picking up some of the green off of those trees. Okay, so I'm kind of going to a tapping motion over the trees instead of a streaking motion, okay? Maybe I'll do more of the streaking kind of a little bit higher up. But I'm going to define kind of some clouds, or, I don't know, vapor, illuminated vapor. Well, I guess that would be a cloud then, but I'm just defining it with the use of kind of negative space right here. I don't know if that's showing. This is a very light color in the Memento Summer Sky, okay? But I'm adding in some blue streaks in here, but the area that I don't streak is the white of the page, and that remaining space is going to be my cloud. Now see, when you start this light, with the really light values like I like to do, it's not a big commitment to that hue. Okay, now I'm really dragging some color down here in these trees, but oh, so be it. Let's put a little bit of this color down here in this landscape. Oh my gosh, I'm really streaking that. There's a lot of ink in those trees. So there was that bottle green kind of pads disintegrating a little bit, so I picked up some of that felt that's on there. So I'm going to have to really define that streak of color as a streak in the water, okay? So we'll see what we can do with it. If I wasn't doing this video, I would have let this dry a touch, but that's how we roll here. We just go with it, right? I always tell people that, when you're doing these things, there's hardly anything I've ever seen done that can't be kind of remedied in one way or another, just with the use of some additional tone. If I drop that stamp on there and if I can't stamp over it with something, then, it might be ruined, but you can always stamp something over it. You can stamp a branch over it or something. Okay, and this is what I'm talking about right there, that big streak. So that's going to end up being like a streak of, I don't know, water in there, but okay, here's what, this is so subtle. You'll see it better when I get to the next color, but this little area in here is going to be my kind of cloud, and I'll leave some area light down here, so that'll be its kind of reflection down here. Alright? But again, we'll keep this fairly light in value, and in doing so, kind of the spirit of the scene will be a little bit lighter in its, I don't know, kind of emotional quality, you might say. Okay, going with the next color, retain that lighter area, okay? And that way you're kind of defining light and controlling light that way. Okay, coming in here in the water. I am going up into the land a little bit. It's going to be blue, but blue mixed with green. I'll come into that area with green as well. Blue is a component of green, so they will blend together just fine. Okay, so you see it already. You get a little bit of that area up there of cloud. Okay, let's move into a medium tone blue. How about this Bahama blue? I think you'll be able to see my cloud up there a little bit more now, because it's defined by a darker tone around it. By the time you move into your medium tones again, you just be careful around that lighter area, because that's your light source. well, I don't know if it's the light source, but it's certainly the most illuminated part of the scene, right? And if you want that kind of lighting, then just retain it. Okay, now this is where that streak kind of is getting a little bit more obscured because I'm bringing in a darker streak over the top of it in the form of this Memento Bahama Blue. Okay, so we'll give that streak something to relate to. We'll make the water much more streaky, okay? And just have it become a part of the composition. Okay, see the streaks down here? Let's go with that. All right. I would have just left that as is. I think back in the day, you know, my first cards, you know, I used to design stamps, but I mean, that wasn't my job at A Stamp of the Hand. You know, she would just put out a design call with everyone that worked there who, you know, many of us drew. But they would just ask, hey, you know, we want to get some new designs out. You guys have 2 weeks to do it. I don't know. I don't think she ever told us what to draw. Maybe, but I would draw them, and other people, like at conventions or stuff, would demonstrate them. And you know, when I came up with this modular nature series, you know, they would demonstrate the new stamps at the show. And one time, our demonstrators just said, "Hey, Kevin, we don't know how to use these. You do them." And I thought, what? So I think I sat in, and that's when I started demonstrating. I'm trying to think if I colored before. I don't know if I was even doing much coloring. We used to have these stamps at A Stamp in the Hand that had this little paper insert underneath this plastic that showed what the stamp was. You know, it wasn't, you know, a label or something, or stamped on the top of wood like these ones. It was had its label, and thing went underneath it, and we would have to stamp it out on a piece of paper and put that piece of paper underneath it. I don't think I was even doing that at the time. So this nature series was really kind of the beginning of me becoming a rubber stamper. Pen and ink artist, yeah, but not a rubber stamper. Okay, so we go down here, integrated that little streak in. Let's go and add in a little bit of green into this little shoreline, grassy shoreline, okay? This is a pale green. I want to go with something fairly light to begin with. You know, you don't have to go with like a Christmas green or something like that. You can think about it like working with pastels, maybe, you know, as a way to think about it. You know, chalks. You know, and you just kind of add a little bit at a time, and if you like it, then you can add more. That's basically what it's kind of in the spirit of, you know, just taking things nice and gradually. So I've added this kind of green along the shoreline. And it warms it up slightly, although this green right here isn't, you know, a terribly warm green, but just starting it off like something like that. Now let's try with this La Plume Permanent. This one's a little bit more of a warmer green. Now, we didn't have alcohol pens. Actually, we did, but we weren't using them in stamping, rubber stamping back in the day. But supposed to be in the spirit of what I would do back in the day, but I didn't say in the media, limited to the media that I used back then. Might as well use what you have. But as far as kind of the lightness of the scene and spirit of it, nothing too heavy. That's kind of what my scenes would look like for the most part. Okay. This is a little bit of pink here. I'm trying to get this pad just right. Okay. Alright, now, just for a slight change in hue, I'm going to add a little bit of this pink to the sky. I don't like that pink right there. It's this pad here, Rosemary. It seems like it's kind of crumbling. I say that, but this pad, this is like an old top. There was newer tops. When I say newer tops, the newer tops came out like 15 years ago, so this pad could be 20 years old. So, anyway, let's try this one. Let's try this orchid, okay? Purplish pink, that's what I'm going for here. But I want to go for something fairly light. Okay, I'm going to start streaking it into this blue area. And then I'm going to come into, that white area. So hopefully I'll get a little variation. You see where it overlaps that? It looks a little bit more violet. So there's a lot of variation in here. Just going with one added new color, because you're not just adding a color to white. You're bringing it into an area that already has a few different values of another color. So with transparent colors, as you overlap those other colors, you're mixing, it's, I don't know if it's, physically mixing, but it's overlapping, so you're creating all these different variations. So that's one of the really great things about dye-based inks too. You can really get your pads to go a long way because of the ability to layer different tones and thereby achieving different colors, If you know just the basics on color mixing, you could overlap your pink over blue and you get violet, you get pink over yellow and you get orange. Okay, so a little bit of variation up there. But now, what happens when you have some of those colors in the sky and you have a body of water? It's just like that lesson, if you've watched it, on kind of a mirroring your, lakeside surface. I can bring some of my tones down here. So we can kind of, not replicate, but, I don't know, kind of reference what's going on up in the sky. Isn't that right down here with some of that tone? The water, and you have that right there. So, boy, I'm kind of tempted to go a little bit darker in my four corners. Maybe I'll do that in blue. I won't bring black into the scene. But actually, I think I already went with this blue, but let's go a little bit more, just to see if it will get a little bit darker. Sometimes if you add a little bit more, it'll kind of increase the value scheme. So this is a pretty simple color scheme, right? It's kind of, the stamp alongs, the three different values of blue, except in this one case, we've added a little bit of green, and a little bit of, in this case, violet. If you have a pale pink, that would be really good too. And we have a little bit of variation. So the variation is also possible from the use of that, or the retention of the white of the paper, so you get the pure color of whatever pad color you're using, ink color you're using. All right, let's see. Oh yeah, what I was going to say too. If you've watched the video that I just did fairly recently on easy lighting schemes, okay? What we have here is an area of light and reflected light, but here you have this thing where I've come in here, see, with this type of toning convention, and I've come into this area, and what that area is the horizon right there. And then we have the area down here in reflected light. But even if this wasn't water and it wasn't such a direct reflection, even if this was all meadow, I would probably have it illuminated down here, but maybe not quite as light as that, but light nonetheless. So, an easy color scheme and an easy light, very light, kind of emotional lightness in terms of the end result, just by simply retaining a lot more, I don't know, lighter areas, maybe not going quite, to black, Over the years I tended to get darker and darker and darker, because I wanted I wanted the contrast to be kind of expanded. But this is a really simple and easy approach to, say, the land element. Okay, I just colored it in there with a little bit of green. But here's the thing too. I think it looks best to retain some areas of light. So let's see if I can zoom in here. That area is light in there and darker down here. That area in the back there is lighter and darker around the edge right here. So retaining some lights and darks within a given space, I feel, gives the those areas a little bit more of a three-dimensional feel, because it looks modeled now. You have, dark and light. And if you look on the design itself, okay, I have this area down here where it's toned on the bottom and lighter on top, right? Because there's more condensed dots on the bottom than on the top. So all I've done is I've just reiterated that with a little bit more tone. So where you see a lot of dots, just add a little bit of color to that. And where you don't see a lot of dots, you can use that as a cue for, retaining the lightness. You can even see it right here in this, sorry. Why aren't you okay. So this area out here is lighter, and then it gets darker in here, and it's lighter in here, and darker down here. I've had a little bit of color down here because it was the perimeter, but you can see where it gets light to dark right here. And that's not hard to do, it just means you color down here, and just leave that alone. So, a really easy approach, just a couple colors in here, a little bit of tone. You can use a pen down here or something like that, it'll be fun. You can come down here in the shadows, here's some grass. If you want to add a little bit of, I don't know, lime green streaks to that grass, you can too. But this is a real easy approach, especially if you haven't done stamping, landscape stamping before. Sometimes the other types of looks can look a little intimidating in terms of the end result with the really super saturated layering of inks. It's kind of hard to tell what went where, but you can kind of keep it lighter like this, and a lot of people like that look better. I don't know, I went darker than, what I used to do way back when, just because I like it kind of framed off, and now if I don't do that, to me, as far as my aesthetics, it looks kind of strange, but I don't know, it's just really fun to do, and I don't know, it's a good way to work if you want to just kind of get into it and just practice kind of more targeted areas of color in terms of keeping the grass one type of look and the sky another and your water another. And also getting your color in those objects just in the impressions themselves. Okay, anyways, a quick scene, pretty easy. I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for tuning in.